Welcome back to another episode of the Miami Heat Roundtable. I'm your host, Amir. For today's episode, we got Martel. You can find him at the Miami Heat Zone podcast. We also got Trent. You can find him at the Miami Heat Network. Got two special guests joining the program today. We got Frank and Adrian from the Rainy Day Pod. How are you doing, guys?
What's up? How y'all doing, man? Doing pretty good.
Doing good. It's game day. We're recording this before the Miami Heat play against the New York Knicks. We're 2-1, so good start after that first horrible game against the Magic, but we played against two bottom feeders in the East, so today is a real test for the Miami Heat. But before we get started on today's episode, do you guys want to just introduce yourself to the audience and talk a little bit about your podcast and what you guys cover?
Yes, sir, man. We are Rainy Day Pod on all socials, YouTube, Spotify, and we just cover pretty much all South Florida teams except for the Miami Marlins. We really don't talk about baseball at all, but mostly the Panthers, the Heat, the Dolphins, and then the Miami Hurricanes. So, this is my co-host,
Palm Beach Frank. One half of the Rainy Day Pod, obviously, and to the business everything that Adrian said.
All right, so sounds good, guys. So we're playing the New York Knicks, and the offense has starting to look a little bit shaky. I think that they're still kind of getting used to the whole 5-out offense. What do you guys think about Bam Adebayo right now? There's a lot of people that are saying he's struggling. I think he's going to be fine. I just think he has to get used to, the ball really flowing through Tyler and Terry. But, what do you guys think about Bam's performance so far? And what do you think about this Miami Heat offense?
That's a great question, Martel. I would say Bam, I was thinking that earlier. Bam is having a slow start in my opinion, by his all-star standards. I think, like you just said, I think he'll be fine. I think he'll pick up rhythm. I think he's just kind of holding down the court, making sure everybody else gets involved. And we develop that chemistry early on.
Yeah, I echo them sentiments, man. I feel like we're gonna be fine, man. We still trying to learn like how we're gonna play. We're not playing all the players yet either. So I feel like when Khalil and Pell get in there and get good rotation minutes, I think we'll be fine. It's early, man. We only played 3 games. Got the Knicks tonight, so we'll see how they do, man. Hopefully they progressing and getting better and better and not, having any drop off. So
when do you guys see Spo extending that bench outside of injuries? Because we know most likely that's going to happen, but do you see a world where a Pele can play? Because I thought against the Pistons when the Heat were doing the thing they always do, which is have that third quarter and they come out and can't freaking score a bucket. They score 14 points total, and they allow the Pistons were up and coming. They were 0-3 before that game, 0-4, but they're a decent young team. Cade Cunningham looks good. Ivy's playing a lot better. They have some good pieces. They lost a lot of close games, so it's not like they've been getting blown out. But there was a moment where I'm like, put in some new energy. Like, why is Thomas Bryant still playing? We can get into that later with Khalil. But why can't we just give Pele Larson, some guy who's doesn't need the ball in his hand? He's gonna move off ball. He's gonna cut, play hard defense. Put him in.
House of plays.
You know what I mean? But when is a Kashad? Yeah. When is a Pele gonna get? When's a Khalil gonna get opportunity outside of injuries? Do you think it's gonna happen anytime soon, or Spo gonna be stubborn?
I think he's definitely gonna be stubborn. Because it's the beginning of the season. But I think as the season progresses, man, they're gonna work themselves into the rotation. Because he gonna have to play him eventually. What they did in the preseason, you saw the I want to say you saw the potential there. So I feel like they definitely can get in and get some good minutes.
Yeah, I agree with what Adrian says. Spo, I like to call Spo a mad genius because he do some things where you'll question why you not playing this player, but ultimately it works out in the end. So I think. Because this unit didn't get a lot of time on the floor together, I think they're just trying to get that chemistry early on before they really implement the young players together. But I think they're going to get their time, and I think they're going to do good.
And just a heads up, Frank, I think there's a little echo on your mic, so I don't know if that's something you can control, but just a heads up. But yeah, Trent, do you want to hop in next?
Yeah, what's going on, guys? So They asked you about Bam and the offense and stuff like that, and they asked about the rookies and when they're going to play. But my question is, what's your honest opinion about Jimmy Butler's season so far with 3 games in, and do you expect the aggressive Jimmy against the Knicks today? Because game 1, he looked like he can get off my team, but then game 2 and game 3 kind of, he kind of stepped up and showed why he's Jimmy Butler and stuff like that. But we've been dealing with this Jimmy problem, for the last couple of years in the sense of him just coasting through the regular season and taking the regular season as a joke. Do you see a different attitude with him, a little bit being aggressive the last 2 games, or do you think this is just going to be like the inconsistencies of him? Today he's going to drop 10 points and then next game he drops 20, or do you like Jimmy's just locked in? And also for a 2-parter for both of y'all was, do you want to trade Jimmy? I don't know how true it is. Houston has been linked to the Miami Heat for a while now. And personally, in my opinion, I think the Houston Rockets do got some nice young studs that can help this team if we do move off on Jimmy and possibly get some draft capital. So how do you feel about Jimmy, and do you want to trade Jimmy?
That's a good question, Trent. And sorry for that. I'm trying to get it adjusted, but I don't want to say trade Jimmy because Jimmy is what he has done for the team in the offseason. I mean, he left it out on the floor. So I don't want to say trade Jimmy. I think Jimmy is locked in to me. I mean, the first game, like you said, was terrible. I was kind of worried, but then back consecutive 20-point games. I don't know. I feel like he locked in. He want to be in Miami. He voiced that. He's serious about it. So we just got to see where the season go from here. You see how if he turn up for the whole season and not, play lackadaisical and take games off. But I think he'll be all right.
Man, I think Jimmy probably gone, so you might as well just try to get what you can for him. You know what I'm saying? Because if you do trade him, you will get some type of draft capital or a young player that spoken work in there. But I mean, I don't know. I think you get what you can for Jimmy now because I don't think he's coming back to the Heat after this year.
Now, I'm not the biggest Tyler Hero fan here, but I will say Tyler Hero and Terry Rozier have been doing their job for at least for the 3 games. But if you're moving on from Jimmy, do you stay with Tyler? Because I feel like Tyler been in trade rumors the last 6 years, or 4 years, whatever. So do you kind of just go with the young core, let Tyler and Bam run your future for the next 5 to 10 years, however long they're on this team? Or do you kind of do the same thing and do like a big shift and let go of Tyler too? Because we all know Tyler underperforms in the postseason when it matters, and we understand he's fragile and he gets hurt every 5 seconds, and he only has a couple of skill sets. So do you still want him on your team, or let him roll with Jaime and Jovic and Kel'el Ware and see where that can get you?
What they gave you?
Yeah. What you think?
Tyler, I don't know. I'm still out on Tyler because he got to show it, man. I mean, there's been moments, but it ain't been consistent. Like you said, the injury history, the playoff, scaredness. I feel like he just be scared in the playoffs, but he don't live up to the big moments. If he had that Jimmy, that dog in him, in the playoffs, then we'll be fine. But
yeah, last year was his chance. Last year was his chance to show that dog, to display that, I can take over this team if y'all need me to. And he ain't do that. I know, granted we was injured, but when you got injuries like that and they calling your number, you got to respond. And I do feel like we could probably get something for Tyler. But yeah, I think he got to go out there and prove it. Like he locked in this year. He got his little buzz cut and all that. You know what I'm saying? He locked in. So we'll see how it goes, man. I think Tyler, if he stay healthy, that's like you said, that's the biggest thing. Availability is one of the best abilities. So we'll see how it goes.
Marcel, now, where do you see this Miami? Yeah, go ahead, bro.
Marcel, one sec. It's just a quick question. Everybody can answer this. Would y'all rather have Cam Thomas or Tyler Hero? Honest question.
Ooh.
No, that is a good question. Cam Thomas
a
has to
valid
prove it to
question.
me a little bit more, though.
That's a valid question.
You know what I mean? Because Cam
Yeah.
Thomas, he kind of just got on the scene. Tyler Hero's kind of been he's been established a little bit more. I mean, think about it. Outside of his injuries, he's pretty much been consistent in the regular season in terms of his production. It's really just his injuries why he really hasn't been on the floor. Cam Thomas, he's just arriving. I mean, don't get me wrong, he can get straight buckets. I think he's a solid player, but I'd have to see him, fitting on this Miami Heat team as well. Like, there's just a little bit more to that than just throwing him on the team. You know what I'm saying, Trent?
Yep.
Yeah. He's averaging, Cam Thomas, I didn't even realize this. I know he's had some good games, but 29 points, 5 rebounds, 3 assists. What is he shooting from 3? 38%. Last year, I didn't even know he averaged 22.5. I mean, it's a different role. Like Tyler, probably would be shooting 30%, from the field, but would be in that Jordan Poole type of role on a bad team where he would get 25, 27 points per game if he could shoot 23, 24 shots per game, right? Like Tyler's averaging 14, 15 shots per game. So that's a good question though, Trent, because Cam does provide, though, even when he had better players around him on that roster, the ability to get you 40, like a true microwave scorer. Like, when was the last time Tyler had over 35 points? Like, how many? Tyler can get you 25, 27 here and there. Then the inconsistency is the big issue, because then he'll get you 13 points or 12 points and he'll get hurt, all that stuff. The Miami Heat last year, offensive rating, we were 25 for most of the year. I think we ended 21st, 27th in points per game last year, 109 per game, right? Guess where we are right now? It's only 3 games. We're 28th in points per game, or 29th, I think. So we're even worse technically to start the year. So people might cook me for this, but based on a need and a fit, maybe the way Cam Thomas is playing so far this season and last year, we might need that scorer next to Jimmy, right? Like we don't need a guy who's injured and inconsistent. But I mean, I don't know. Is Tyler Hero the better player? Maybe.
That's why they were trying to go get
That's
why they were trying to go get Dame, right? For the scoring.
Yeah. I mean, it fits a need. That's an interesting question.
Yeah, I mean, I was upset about the Dame trade, but looking back on it, we would have gave up probably a lot to get Dame and maybe depleted the bench, but you getting a definite, 25, 30 points a night from Dame. Now the thing, you just, added on different players to surround and make that team better, but I don't know, man. That's a good question. That's a good point, y'all.
We haven't had also that 25-point plus player with Jimmy in this build. He's had Bam, yeah, that's great. Good two-way player, but not elite offensively. We've seen that. Tyler Hero, good offensive player, definitely not a good offensive player, not a good defensive player, but also hurt. So, I mean, Dame is averaging, again, short sample size. It's only 3 to 4 games in the NBA season, depending on the team. Dame's averaging 28.6 rebounds, 6 assists. Yes, we would have probably had to trade Jovic, Jaime, Hero, and some picks, and people would be sad about that. But there's no guarantee they're going to develop and become stars, right? There's no guarantee they're going to be on this team in the next 2-3 years anyway. Even Jaime could regress, right? I don't think he will, but I'm saying they're not superstars. Dame is a bona fide superstar, and yes, he's aging, but I think scoring has been the biggest Achilles heels in this Jimmy Butler build. Is just he didn't have that sidekick that can get that bucket with him when he's in playoff Jimmy mode. So I don't know. Yeah, it sucks that we fumbled that bag with Dame. Martel, you had a question though before we got.
Yeah, just real quick before we close. Where do you guys see this Miami Heat stacked up in the East? I know it's very early, but you have Trent's Orlando Magic, the Cavs, they're 4-0. The Philadelphia 76ers, they're saying that they're going to prioritize health over wins. The Boston Celtics, they're not going anywhere. So where do you see this Miami Heat team stacked up in the East?
I think we're going to be about where we were last year, man. Barely getting into the playoffs. As far as I can see right now, you know what I'm saying? Just because of what you said, Amir, the scoring, it ain't there. We could take those steps and get better and have some people come on and take off. But I mean, right now, man, I just see a 7th, 8th spot, maybe even play in. So
I agree. I want to be more optimistic, but being that we're the only team that didn't really make any moves in the offseason, we got our work cut out for us. So we know that the Heat can do it. We've seen them with this same type of team. Core pretty much intact. But yeah, everybody's better now. So we're gonna have to stay healthy, be consistent if they want to avoid the play-in. But I think what Adrian said is probably right on par, probably about 7, hopefully 7 seed going in.
Yeah, what do you think, Trent and Martel? Just based off the first, 4 games, 3 games, or whatever it's been, what do you think?
At least top 5. I mean, the Philadelphia 76ers, like I said, they're prioritizing health over wins. Cleveland, they're a very good regular season team, but is Donovan Mitchell going to continue to be able to carry them all throughout the regular season? The Indiana Pacers, I'm not really feeling them too much this year. So
I would say,
I think they could be 5th seed.
Yeah, what do you think, Trent?
I would say, to let y'all guys know, I'm kind of more the negative Nancy dude over here in this podcast. So I think the worst of the Miami Heat every single year. But you know what? I ain't gonna answer the question. I'm gonna answer that question if we could beat the Knicks today. If we could beat the Knicks today, then I'm gonna think we're gonna be fine. But if we don't beat the Knicks today, I'm gonna think the same old Miami Heat.
We could be fine or not fine. It's just one game at this point. We need to wait till, like what Pat Riley always says, cliche shit all the time. 20 games. We got to see this team for the first 20 games to be able to make some sort of.
I always say January. I always say that about, like, especially like it's so many games in the NBA. I think by January you know really what type of team you have, and then that's right before the trade deadline, all that. So I mean, I think by January we'll know for sure, like if we're going deep in the playoffs or not. But then you never know with the Heat, man. We could go in a 6 or 7 seed and then go to the finals. We done it before, so
Yeah. It's not quite like the NFL, as it's not as bruising as a sport, but like the team that you start off with in football, game 1 in September is not the same team. After even like week 13, 14, there's going to be so many different guys that get opportunities and step up. And unlike in basketball, if you lose guys, you're kind of screwed. Like Pele Larson is not going to like come in and replace a Jimmy Butler. But like CMC, I'm a Niner fan. He gets hurt, and then all of a sudden there's a Jordan Mason or even a Garendo rookie. So in basketball, you are going to know, to your point, like mid-season based on how long or how severe injuries may be, or even if there's trades, because trade deadline's February. This Heat team in the bubble, we didn't have Jay Crowder and Iguodala. Those guys came in as veteran presence. Like obviously they continued, Spo's path of small ball 4, but like it worked technically until we got to the finals and we didn't win. I mean, we could use the injury excuse forever, but like you never know what this team could look like, especially before the trade deadline. So yeah. I'm going to say 4 to 6 range kind of at this point based on health. Cause last year we were the 4th most injured team and we still were 2 games from the 6th spot, 4 games from the Knicks who are number 2. So, Jimmy plays 15 games and doesn't miss, those 5 extra, who knows? Or Tyler, who doesn't miss 40 games. He plays, whatever it is, like 50 games versus 40, that could be a big difference, right? Having one of those guys on the court. So it's all about injuries for this team, man. Always.
I'll say this too. If Khalil Ware come in and, take strides and gets better and we unlock that offense, man, I feel like that dude could be dominant, man. Really. Like, I feel like we done seen the potential, man, but I feel like this dude could be really dominant if he develop him right and get him in. Toward the end of the season, we could be seeing a lot of Khalil Ware and Bam on the floor at the same time, and that could be a killer for most teams.
Yeah, we shall see. I'm just hoping he gets a little run tonight, so we'll see. But anyway, before we hop up, guys, do you want to just again remind the audience where they can find your channel and just like shout out your socials so they can find you?
Yeah, man, at Rainy Day Pod on YouTube, Spotify, and all socials.
Awesome.
Palm Beach Franks, same thing, all socials. Every week, every Saturday, Rainy Day Pod.
Awesome, guys. Thank you so much. Martel, any last words before we go?
Like, share, comment, subscribe, and thank you for all the support.
Appreciate y'all.
Appreciate